Entonces lo que nos dijo el otro taller no era gracias, ¿eh? Do you think the other garage scammed us?
Yeah, why?
Because like the brakes. In last week's video we broke down on the way to Portugal. We rang every garage around us. It took a while, but we eventually found one that could take us. At the start everything looked good, but it was a scam that could have killed us.
So we finally got the parcel of goods that we have been waiting for, so let's open up and see what's inside. First, we've got some brake fluid. Then I just bought this little rebuild kit. It was only like €5, so I just bought it in case I can fix my old one. And then of course we have the problem, which is the new master cylinder. So that is going to be going in first. And of course this is from 𝗟𝗢𝗟𝗢𝗪, and as always they send out a little sticker, so that there is going to be going on Fergus. Now it's the challenging part of changing this master cylinder. Before we start disconnecting any hoses or any brake lines, I'm going to have to find something that we can put the old brake fluid into so it's not spilling all over Fergus. And we have this old shampoo bottle of Annie's, so I'm going to have to take out whatever this is.
Well, it wasn't the smoothest of cuts, but it's cut.
As you can see, the van is a complete mess just to change this master cylinder. So I need an 11, which is somewhere around here.
How's it going?
It's very tricky.
Is it?
It's very hard to get your hands in around everything. I think if you didn't have the steering wheel, it would be a lot easier. I'm just trying to change the master cylinder. Look at the state of this van. It is ridiculous. The previous owner had put in a metric size bolt and was way too big and kind of ripped the whole entire threads, so it meant that we couldn't plug ours. So we were trying to fit the new master cylinder to the van, and then we realized that this bolt right here, the previous owner had like put a wrong size of a bolt in it. It's supposed to be a sensor, but he put the wrong size bolt in it, and I didn't want to put it back into the new one. So we have been walking around this town for the last 2 hours trying to go to hardware stores, to garages, to car parts, trying to find a sensor, a bolt, anything to fit into this, and we couldn't find anything. And in the last garage,
He was so nice.
they give us this like bleeding nipple that fits into it, so fingers crossed that will get us on the road and have brakes.
Nothing is ever easy with Fergus. Fingers crossed this works.
I did not think that amount of brake fluid was going to come out of it. The feeling of brake fluid on your hand is horrible, and it's all over the place. So now I have to get this sensor off, and I have to take this bottle off.
Where's the sensor? Oh, right here.
New cylinder.
New cylinder. Somewhere here. Eh. There you go.
You can see the sun is just baking me in this van right now. It's like a complete oven, but we need to get Fergus back on the road, so powering on. So now we have the new brake cylinder in, so now it's time to put in some brake fluid, and then I think I'm going to have to bleed this here.
Not like Shane to go under the van. As you can see, while Shane is lying under the van, I'm doing the hardest part of this entire thing. Pressing the pedal up and down whenever he tells me.
What's the level like? Fine.
Fine to the max.
Okay.
Right.
We are on the phone, so I hear him. I just want to get to Portugal.
Right. Go.
Okay.
Again.
Up and then down.
Right. Up and then hold on.
Up and down. For some reason, I'm getting too used to this.
What?
I'm getting too used to seeing you lying just anywhere.
I get too used to lying underneath it.
Mm.
So what should have been an easy job has turned into an absolute nightmare. Yesterday we changed the master cylinder and we started bleeding the brakes. We got to this one and it is absolutely welded shut. It hasn't been open in probably 40 years and we cannot get it bled. And then we started bleeding again this morning. We ran out of brake fluid. I'm after running to get some brake fluid. So now we're on our last one and fingers crossed this is going to be it. And then we're going to have brakes because after that I don't know what we're going to do.
Okay.
No, I think that's the wrong way.
I was thinking, it doesn't fit. Oh my god, I'm so tired. See, last night I kept dreaming about.
That's the wrong lid.
This is the wrong lid too. Where's the lid? Do I even have the lid? Oh Jesus! I kept dreaming about here, about Fergus, with solutions, what we have done. I don't know. It's just, I'm so tired.
Fingers crossed this is it.
Oh my god. We were literally here all day yesterday.
Slowly.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We just have to wait for the lights to go out. You didn't get my joke, did you?
I did.
You didn't laugh.
Sorry. I'm too tensed.
Okay, we still have.
The van starts.
Well, we have no good start, but we can't stop. Okay. Stop. Okay, so the van stops. The pedal is just not where I want it, so I'm just going to bleed them once more and just make sure all the air is out of the system. But we're stopping, which is the main thing.
Yeah. One last time, Shane.
What?
One last time.
See, one last time.
I don't know how many times we have done this. Let's play these ones again. I mean, I have the best part. Shane is the one that's lying under the van. But I have to say that my legs are getting tired.
Do you notice how this here is like a common thing? Annie sits in the driver's seat and I do all the work.
But I am a good helper.
Well, debatable.
Alright.
You did not cry.
Whatever. you have seen this.
So we have brakes, but they're probably not the best of brakes, but like here's me probably doing 20 miles an hour. Like we do stop.
Right, stop at that arrow. Or that manhole or whatever.
Oh, just man over there.
Somebody crossing.
So we have a couple of updates on Fergus. We were supposed to leave this morning for Portugal, but that didn't really go to plan. Yesterday we changed the master cylinder and we bled all the brakes and we thought we had them fixed, but this morning we went out and the pedal went straight to the floor. So there's clearly another issue wrong with the brakes and I don't think it was the master cylinder. So this morning we have found a garage that Fergus is in right now and he's going to be having a look at it and he's going to be telling us in a couple of hours what the issue is or what we need to do, and hopefully we don't have to buy any more parts because it's already cost us almost €100 on parts and €160 from the other garage, so we don't want to be spending any more money on it. But for now we are going to spend a lovely sunny day here in northern Spain, which is quite typical for this part of Spain, but hopefully in a couple of hours we have some news on Fergus. So we've just got news from the garage that Fergus is ready, so now it's time to go and pick him up. And it looks like we did end up being scammed by the first garage, so we'll tell you more about that in just a minute.
Hopefully it's not too dear.
Fingers crossed, because we've already spent like 200 and something euros, so fingers crossed.
Estaba malo.
Claro, no giraban los racones, eso lo perdían por, o sea, por las gomas.
Fergus!
And our pockets are a wee bit lighter.
A little bit.
but we have Fergus back. I will take those. Like this. Has been in the cab.
Oh, the police. Oh, they thought I was on the phone while driving.
Maybe.
Like always. It's so good to be back in Fergus, back driving.
Back on the road. It's been, what, nearly 2 weeks?
Nearly 2 weeks since we left and we had to come back. And then we got scammed. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So now let's address the scam that went on, and it left us out of pocket quite a bit.
So when we were stuck in the middle of Cantabria, we rang every single garage, and this one garage took us that day.
And as soon as he answered the phone, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of this fella.
Yeah, he said it. So we went there and they fixed our van within that same day. They freed up the brake caliper, but we came out of that garage with an €160 bill and a brake pedal that went down to the floor. And they told us that we could drive like that to Portugal if we got used to braking like that. We just had to press the brake pedal 5 times to brake.
It was absolutely lethal. As soon as I got into the van and went to take off, I hit the brakes and the van just kept going, and we were right beside the road. And he's like, no, just get used to pumping it 5 times, change the master brake cylinder. We can't do it because we don't take like third-party parts. We have to buy our own parts. And he's like, oh, that's going to be like another week. So we bought the brake caliper off 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗪, fixed it ourselves. I was like, okay, this is going to be...
That's it.
That's it, all over. Went, no brakes. So it turns out that the master cylinder wasn't in fact the issue, but it turned out to be something else. So we had our suspicions that something was wrong, so we rang a garage that is right beside us, and they took us in that day they were only going to bleed the brakes. And then when they got into it, as soon as he looked at it, within 2 seconds, he was like, no, there's something wrong with your back brakes, there is brake fluid leaking out through your drums. So it actually turned out that the brake cylinders at the back of the van were completely gone. They were just leaking brake fluid all over the place, and that is why we had no brakes. And every time we bled the van, the pedal just kept getting softer and softer because the brake fluid was leaking out of the back.
I don't know how many times we bled the brakes.
Like 5 times.
Yeah.
I could bleed brakes now with my eyes closed, but that turns out that the shoes were bad because it got contaminated with brake fluid, and the drums needed cleaning and everything. So that garage fixed it for us. So they changed the back cylinders, the brake shoes, put in new brake lines, fixed the handbrake, and now we are back on the road. So tomorrow we'll start making our way towards Portugal. So in the end of it, the first garage cost us like €160 for basically nothing. So we end up being scammed €160. We went and bought a master brake cylinder,
which was another 100 and something euro in total, with shipping and everything, and
probably 80
brake fluid. We had to buy 2 bottles of brake fluid.
Yeah, probably close to €100 for the parts that we bought for the master cylinder. Turns out that wasn't the issue, so there's almost €300 gone that we did not have to spend. This garage has cost us €379. So in total, this has been a pretty hefty bill on our travels. So yeah, almost probably €600 out of pocket, but that's the joys of van life, and at least we're back on the road and we can continue travelling on towards Portugal, and fingers crossed this time we actually get there. So touch wood, and if anybody wants to help us out, donate to the link down below. Thank you. We'll set up a GoFundMe.
We need it.
That's part and parcel of van life. So now we are going to be back on the road, and fingers crossed, touch wood, this time there is no issues and we can even get close to Portugal. But until then, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.